The night the truth finally surfaced, the sky over Beijing felt unnaturally heavy, like it knew something the world didn't. Streetlights flickered along rain-slicked roads, reflecting in shattered gold across puddles as thousands of phones lit up simultaneously across the country. A single post had just gone viral. No warning. No build-up. Just a name, a confession, and a truth so explosive it threatened to shake the very core of everything people thought they knew. I'm ready to tell the truth about Yu Menglong. The words were posted by Xin Fei, an obscure figure to the public, but one deeply buried in whispers, rumors, and shadows surrounding the tragic and mysterious death of Yu Menglong. Within minutes, the post was shared millions of times. Screenshots flooded every platform. News anchors froze mid-sentence as producers screamed in their earpieces. Fans, skeptics, investigators, everyone leaned in at once. Because for months, the story of Yu Menglong had been buried under contradictions. Official reports had claimed it was an accident. Some said it was suicide. Others believed darker forces were at play. But no one had ever come forward with proof. Until now. Xin Fei didn't just post words. He released a video. The camera flickered to life in a dimly lit room. A single overhead bulb swung slightly, casting shadows that moved like ghosts across cracked walls. Xin Fei sat in the center of the frame, his face pale, eyes hollow from what looked like sleepless nights. There was no dramatic music. No editing. Just raw, suffocating silence. "I know what happened," he began, his voice trembling but deliberate. "And I was part of it." That sentence alone sent shockwaves across the nation. People stopped breathing. "I wasn't supposed to speak. None of us were." He paused, swallowing hard, as if forcing the next words out would cost him everything. Yu Menglong didn't die by accident. He didn't take his own life. He was silenced. The internet exploded. Comments flooded in faster than they could be read. Some called it a lie. Others demanded more. But deep down, everyone felt it, that chilling sense that something real was finally breaking through. Xin Fei leaned forward slightly, his eyes locking onto the camera. It started weeks before his death, when he found something he wasn't supposed to see. The video cut briefly, then resumed with Xin Fei holding a folder. Papers. Documents. Evidence. "He came to me," Xin Fei continued, "because he trusted me. He said, if anything happens to me, don't let them bury the truth." Xin Fei's voice cracked at the memory. "But I failed him." The confession deepened. Yu Menglong, according to Xin Fei, had uncovered a network, a powerful circle operating behind the scenes in the entertainment industry. Not just corruption. Not just exploitation. But something far more sinister. Names were mentioned in hushed tones. Deals made in silence. Lives destroyed quietly. "He had proof," Xin Fei said, tapping the folder. "Contracts, recordings, even hidden footage." The air felt tighter with every word. But once they realized he knew, everything changed. The scene shifted. Xin Fei described the final night. Rain had been pouring just like it was now. Yu Menglong had called him in a panic, his voice barely recognizable. "They're following me," Yu had whispered over the phone. "If I disappear, it's them." Xin Fei admitted he hesitated. He didn't go to help. He didn't call anyone. Fear had rooted him in place. "I thought it would pass," he said, eyes filled with regret. "I thought he was just scared." Hours later, Yu Menglong was found. Lifeless. And the world was told a story that never quite made sense. The video zoomed in closer now. Xin Fei's face filled the screen. "I was there, later." That revelation froze everything. "I saw what they did to the scene. I saw them rewrite everything. It wasn't an investigation, it was a cover-up." He exhaled shakily. "And I stayed silent." The weight of those words hung like thunder. Outside, sirens began to echo faintly in the background of the video. Xin Fei glanced toward a window, panic flickering across his face. "They're already coming," he muttered. The internet collectively held its breath. "If this video is out, it means I've made my choice." He opened the folder and held up a photograph, blurry but unmistakable. Yu Menglong, alive, speaking with someone whose face was partially hidden. They were meeting that night, Xin Fei said. Not by chance. It was a trap. He flipped to another document. Financial transfers. Millions. Paid to keep things quiet. Another page. Names of those involved. His voice grew steadier now, like a man who had already accepted his fate. I'm releasing everything. At that moment, the video glitched violently. The screen distorted. Static screamed. Then, silence. The feed cut to black. For a full 10 seconds, nothing happened. And then, like a digital explosion, files began appearing online. Documents. Audio clips. Surveillance footage. Everything Xin Fei had promised. Within hours, the narrative that had once been tightly controlled began unraveling at terrifying speed. Influential figures scrambled to respond. Statements were issued. Denials flooded in. But it was too late. The public had seen enough. Protests erupted overnight. Crowds gathered, holding signs with Yu Menglong's name written boldly across them. Candles lit the streets like stars fallen to earth. People who had never met him now chanted for justice as if they had lost someone of their own. Because they had. They had lost the truth. And now they wanted it back. Investigators, once silent, began reopening the case under immense public pressure. Journalists dug deeper than ever before. Every new revelation added fuel to a fire that could no longer be contained. But one question remained. Where was Xin Fei? Authorities claimed they were looking into it. Some said he had been taken into protective custody. Others believed something far darker had happened. Then, 3 days later, another video surfaced. Shorter. Grainier. Desperate. Xin Fei again. But this time, he looked different. Bruised. Exhausted. Terrified. If you're seeing this, he whispered, his voice barely audible, it means they found me. He looked off camera, as if someone stood just beyond the frame. I don't have much time. His breathing quickened. They want to erase everything. But you've already seen it. You know now. He leaned closer. Don't stop. Don't let them win. The sound of a door slamming echoed behind him. Footsteps. Fast. Approaching. Xin Fei's eyes widened. This is for you, he said, his voice suddenly filled with fierce determination. This is for the truth. The video cut abruptly. And that was the last time anyone ever saw him. The disappearance of Xin Fei transformed the story from shocking to unstoppable. Now, it wasn't just about Yu Menglong anymore. It was about everyone who had ever been silenced. Every secret buried. Every truth denied. Weeks passed, but the momentum never faded. The evidence Xin Fei released continued to surface in waves, each piece more damning than the last. Arrests began, quiet at first, then louder, more visible. High-profile names once untouchable were suddenly being questioned. The system was cracking. And through it all, one phrase echoed across the nation like a heartbeat. Justice for Yu Menglong. It appeared on walls, in songs, across social media, even whispered in classrooms and offices where fear once ruled. People were no longer afraid. Because the truth had a face now. Yu Menglong. And a voice. Xin Fei. The man who had risked everything to speak. The man who had paid the ultimate price. Months later, a memorial was held. Thousands attended. Candles flickered under the night sky as a giant screen displayed images of Yu Menglong, smiling, alive, full of dreams that had been stolen too soon. But this time, the story wasn't controlled. This time, the truth stood unchallenged. A speaker stepped forward. We were told to forget, she said. But we chose to remember. The crowd erupted in quiet agreement. Because remembering had become an act of defiance. An act of justice. As the night deepened, a final message appeared on the screen. A quote from Xin Fei's first video. I was part of the silence, but I chose to break it. And in that moment, something shifted. Not just in the case, but in the hearts of everyone watching. Because they realized something powerful. Truth doesn't disappear. It waits. And when it finally rises. They wanted to end this with me, Xin Fei said softly. But they didn't understand something. A pause. You can't kill the truth once it's been seen. A faint sound, like wind rushing past. I was afraid for so long, he admitted. But you wasn't. Another pause. And that's why he won. The recording crackled. If you're hearing this, then it means you didn't stop. A final breath. Thank you. Silence. The message spread just as fast as everything else had. But this time, it felt different. It wasn't fear. It wasn't anger. It was closure. Not perfect. Not complete. But real. Because for the first time, the truth had not only been revealed. It had been heard. Accepted. And acted upon. Months later, the world looked different. The industry had changed. Not completely, but enough. Enough for people to question. Enough for voices to rise sooner. Enough for silence to no longer feel safe. A memorial was built, not just for Yu Menglong, but for everyone who had been lost in the shadows before him. And right at the center of it, two names stood side by side. Yu Menglong. Xin Fei. One who uncovered the truth. And one who made sure it would never disappear. But the story didn't end there. Because stories like this never really do. They echo. They leave marks. They change people. And sometimes, they remind the world of something it often forgets. That truth, no matter how deeply buried, always finds a way back to the surface. And as you sit here, watching this unfold, ask yourself one thing. If you were in their place, would you have stayed silent? Or would you have risked everything to be heard? Because the next story might not be so far away. And the next truth might be even darker. If you love celebrity thrillers like this, subscribe now because tomorrow's story is even darker.